Got it. All right. Hello, I'm Super Isaac 64.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a different thing.
Oh, and I'm
I actually knew this was gonna happen when I wrote it out. I was like, this is gonna be good.
good. And I'm Claire, and I never finish a game.
Neither of us do.
No.
No. And this is Make
Make
That
that
Game.
game. Where we pitch the latest
The greatest.
new video game ideas.
Uh, nobody's gonna make these games. They're just ideas, but it would be nice if they did.
So Isaac, what have you been up to lately in your gaming life? Oh wait, before we start that, I just wanted to
Oh,
say hello, listeners. It's me, Claire. This is
hello, Claire.
episode 10.
Episode 10?
This is episode 10, and it means that we have pitched 20 games, 20 brand new game ideas.
Wow, I was trying to do the math. I couldn't quite figure it out fast enough.
We have created from scratch 30 rapid fire game ideas.
Oh, yeah. What? That's actually a lot.
That's a lot. It is. So I think I just thought
Some
maybe
better than others.
I created a song to help us celebrate.
Oh.
And I hope this isn't copyright infringement, but here it goes. It goes, what you gonna do with all those games? All those games that you have made? I'm gonna play those games. Play those games. Oh yeah, those games. Games we'll never make. Check it out. And that's my 10 episode celebration song.
Perfect. Okay, we're gonna play that over our intro, our normal intro.
Okay.
Good.
Good. But anyway, so back to our regular scheduled programming. I just wanted to celebrate. Isaac, what have you been up to in the gaming world?
Well, special for our 10th episode. Special. Yeah. I have played a new game. I have played a different game than Elden Ring.
Wow.
Finally. I have actually played 2 games, at least. There might be more, but only 2 that I remember. Well, okay, I guess 3 because I'm honking and bonking 1. But okay, so I started playing Kingdom Hearts, folks. Specifically Kingdom Hearts 3. I have jumped into the Kingdom Hearts saga in the 3rd of technically 3 installments. It has 3 numbered installments, but it also has like 17 side games and like 15 remakes that add things, as I understand it. So over the years, I have gained through cultural osmosis some gleaning of what the core concept of Kingdom Hearts is. And
I mean, hasn't everyone?
Hasn't everybody? Yeah. Who has not
even me
the scene where Mickey Mouse walks in a dark robe and he's like, "Oh, are we talking about the doors to darkness?" or whatever the heck he says. He says something about darkness, and it doesn't. Everybody. Yeah. So I have owned Kingdom Hearts 3 since I think it came out, and don't ask me why I bought Kingdom Hearts 3 when I had never played a Kingdom Hearts before, but I did. And then it sat wrapped until like last Sunday or something, and I finally unwrapped it, popped it into my PlayStation 4 and started playing. And let me tell you what, it is a fever dream. It is absolutely surreal to be playing a game where you are an anime and Donald Duck and Goofy are Donald Duck and Goofy, but dressed like anime.
And they're also your best friends.
And they're also your best friends. And there is a like classic Disney wizard who's like, Sora, you failed your test in the last game. Presumably the last game, maybe one of the side games. I don't know. Anyways, you failed your test. And then he sends you to Hercules, like Disney's Hercules. And Hades shows up and he like doesn't fight you or anything. He's just like, "Hey, what are you brats doing here?" So anyways, I played Kingdom Hearts. I also played Chrono Cross. The remake came out. Very excited about this because this is one of my favorite games from my childhood, like probably in my middle school, maybe early high school years. Chrono Cross. Oh, beloved by me. I put so many hours into that game, so I was very excited to kick up the remaster, I guess it's called. And I see a lot of people complaining about frame rate issues online, and this might just be because I originally played it and I don't know. That part seems pristine to me. I have not run into any notable frame rate issues. And it could just be because I'm so used to like the old PS1 quality frame rates where who knows, like people are having problems with it. I don't seem to be having problems with it, but the controls are way clunkier than I remember. Like I'm just trying to climb, like the collisions with the background seem off, like they messed that part up. I'm walking in a place where I'm like, I should definitely, from what I remember, I should be able to walk this way, and I need to like walk a tile. Let's give it. It's not tile based, but I'll call it a tile down. Anyways, it's a dream to play. I love it. I'm loving it. That's my latest gaming endeavors. How about you, Claire? Do you have any endeavors
Well,
news?
yeah. So I only played one game this week because I just haven't been gaming. And I'm actually gonna save that because we have a special type of honks and bonks this week.
So what you're saying is we're skipping your latest gaming endeavors / news, and we're going right into the honk and bonk.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, tell us this special honk and bonk you've planned for our 10th and episode.
Yeah, there is no year involved, but yes, our 10th episode anniversary.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Podversary.
anisode. I was
No.
gonna say anisode, and that's not anything.
See, I'm
That's
glad
nothing.
you didn't say it, but now you did say it.
Yeah, it's out of the bag now.
Now
It's
it's here.
unleashed onto the world.
Now it's here
I'm
for us.
sorry, everybody.
Yeah, so we're going to I'm gonna honk and bonk Isaac, and Isaac's gonna honk and bonk Claire.
Whoa, what could that possibly mean?
So this is based on a listener suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, listener. And
right to the emailed us, which we'll do the pitch at the end of the episode. But hey, listener, email us.
So I played a game called The Binding of Isaac.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, you've mentioned that.
I actually, one of my intros on these episodes was I'm Isaac and I'm unbound. That was a reference to the Binding of Isaac. See what I did there?
And Isaac, what did you play?
I played a game called Claire.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing today. We're honking and bonking each other sort of in a way, but I will say that the way I feel about this game has nothing to do with the way that I feel about Isaac himself. So.
She's got nothing but honks for it, whereas she has nothing but bonks for me.
Right.
Is what she's trying to say.
Right. So who wants to go first? We didn't really talk. Yeah, who would?
Well, since we skipped past gaming endeavors for you, since you didn't have any besides this, I think it's only fair to cede the stand to you. So I would like to hear your opinions on The Binding of Isaac.
I mean, you've already seen a preview while I was playing.
Yeah, I watched it live, folks. It was good.
So I'll just start with what this game is. So it's called The Binding of Isaac, and Isaac has spoken to me about this game before, but when he described it, I pictured it way better. Honestly, like I was worried, one, I'd be actually scared. Like I thought it was going to be a horror game that gave me nightmares. It is a horror game. And then two, I thought that it would be like a challenge with a pretty like through line story, similar to Link's Awakening. Neither of those things are true. So it is a very simply designed game. And Isaac described this to me, but I don't remember exactly how to describe it, but basically like random.
Roguelite.
Okay. So what that means, for those of you who don't know what that means, each dungeon that you play is randomly generated. And by each, I mean, like every time you play the game, it's going to be a different game, basically. Like different rooms, different villains in each room. Although like the things you fight are the same type. Like there's bees and brains that are crying and etc. You'll see those each time you load the game, but they'll be in different configurations, different rooms, etc. So that's kind of the game. So Isaac already had this game on Switch, and for some reason, I think because he had already played it, potentially it skipped the intro. So it just had me load the game, which was odd.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I don't remember ever playing it on Switch because I did all of my Binding of Isaac in the multiple versions that have been released on PC. I don't remember ever really playing it on Switch.
Maybe it just doesn't have it then on Switch.
Maybe they remove that important context.
But yeah, it just starts like you're just in a basement.
Nice.
But Isaac told me the background is like Isaac, the the child you play as is Isaac. No, you definitely played this because there were people that were unlocked. Like there were
Oh, there
characters.
was?
Yes.
Oh, then I definitely played it. Okay.
Yeah.
I just did not remember playing it.
Sorry. So yeah, so it might have skipped the intro, but basically like what you said, Isaac's mom had a vision that he's a demon.
That she just needed to sacrifice him.
Yeah. So he runs and locks himself in the basement. So that's like where you start the game. The art is very like simple. Yeah, so while I was playing it, I did say this feels like torture. And I was like, how long do I have to play in order to have enough honks and bonks?
Is that a honk or a bonk that it feels like torture?
Definitely a bonk. It's not in a fun way. Like, I mean, I could see saying that to like if you're playing a true horror game that like you want to be scared or disgusted, like that's one thing. But this is a total other. But I did try to find some honks. So here's the honks that I have pulled. Here's the honks that I've pulled out of nothing. So the first is to gain health. The health that you pick up is like beating hearts on the floor. And I know that sounds gross, but like for some reason that was charming to me. Like I was like,
okay.
this is the type of like slapstick horror, I guess you could call it, that I like.
Okay.
Is making like the hearts in the game instead of the like cute, 8-bit hearts we all know are like these like beating hearts on the floor that come out of the things you destroy. Like that was kind of fun for me. So that's one honk.
That's good. Okay, we've got one, folks.
The next honk was that it somehow makes you want to keep playing despite being terrible. So
it hits that addiction.
Yeah. And I think it's because of the random, it's a combo of like the randomly generatedness of it. And also that it's actually real. I don't know. I found it really hard. Like basically I said, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to play it until I get to until I basically pass a basement, like finish a basement. And it took me like a while to do that. I found it really challenging. I thought I did not.
But you were able to eventually do it?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Not like a whole thing, just the one floor. Like, it's like basement 1. And you beat a boss and then you go to the next one.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but it does like because it's random, you don't know what's going to come next. And like, obviously like any game, you're going to get a little bit better the more you play. So you're like, oh, this time I got this far. I want to try again. So it has that same addictive quality that most games have. And it wasn't so repulsive that I literally couldn't keep playing it. So that was nice. Also again, in the same vein as Alive Hearts. So the way that you like attack things is with your tears. I actually thought that was them. Yeah, I thought that was super funny. And again, like really aligned with this like slapstick horror kind of category I put this game in, and like a funny way to be gruesome and morbid, I guess, which I thought was fine. So it's like there's some parts of it that are fine, Yeah,
it does have charm to its like graphic body horror,
right?
Gross
which
out
I think
elements.
I think could be good, but it's not. So here's the box.
Oh, we have not even touched it. Wow.
What?
No, I've just because it has overall been so negative, even as you're going through. I
told you I worked really hard to find some positive things that I liked. So the first one is more of a Switch specific bonk, but it was really unclear how to use the controls or items. So they tell you how to like move and shoot, but then they just have random drawings of like a bomb exists. And so I just had to like test it to figure out like how to actually use things. Again, no hints. Hate that in a game. And like Isaac, I was so frustrated because I was like, I literally am dying the minute I get into a room and I don't know what to do. And Isaac showed me that you can hold down the button to like continuously cry at them. So it's more of like a beam than just like a single shot. I didn't know you could do that. No one told me I could do that. I don't know. It's just, and this again, it might be the fact that I'm quote unquote a new gamer in the sense of this style of game, but it's so frustrating when like I'm expected to know what to try, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that can be really rough.
How to do it, or give me a short demo room that like has less stakes, but that has you try, like kind of shows you that you can do these things.
Maybe has like a little. So one thing that I think would be interesting for like a game of this style is, and I'm not sure if it actually has this if you get to like some kind of outer menu, but it seems like it loaded you directly into the game. But like the option of like a demo room that kind of like the first room has things that you can do, but like explicitly spells it out. Monster Hunter as a series, I've generally found they have really good training areas
Yeah.
where they will print out not only like what each button does on the screen at all times while you're in that area, but I believe that it also indicates to you like combos that you can do. Like it'll show
Oh
you
wow.
on screen that if you do triangle, 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 circle, you will do a 4 attack sequence that like is meant to combo together.
Yeah. And I get it. And for some of a lot of these bonks, it's going to be like, this is just like Isaac said it, like, this is just not my style of game, you know? So like
Yeah.
people might love this stuff. And I do value, you know, like I get it. You're supposed to try things and see if they work. And that's part of gaming. But when you haven't grown up doing that, it's really tough to know to try things, like to even know to try.
Right.
And so that was frustrating. So once I got that down, I was much better at the game. But again, Isaac had to tell me to do that. I was just literally dying immediately and it was very frustrating. I didn't even realize I had bombs, but that was my bad. I didn't really read the screen very well. Need to practice. Well, I feel like I just need to like get better at like when I look at a video game screen, like noticing everything that's listed, because I just often don't notice certain things. I finally figured out how to use items too, by the way. So that was cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was a tough like start, which did not like warm me up to the game. The next thing is I said it's kind of relies on like a Cards Against Humanity style humor, if not worse. So I say this because like, so again, the beating heart, that's funny. Tears as weapons, that's like funny. And I say funny in quotes, you know, because it's also very macabre, but that's the style of the game. That's supposed to be. But then there's also just like piles of poop on the floor. There's just piles of poop.
There's one enemy that is constantly peeing.
Oh gosh.
So
Yeah. So it's like
yellow stains grow on the floor as it moves around.
it's like this bathroom humor that just absolutely off-putting. And again, this is very much like just not my style, but like the sounds that go along with like the game is absolutely off-putting, like gross, like squelches. Yeah, just really gross. So yeah, that's, I mean, yeah, it's just gross, like potty humor basically, which I find not nuanced and funny at all. Like, so that was part of why I say it felt like torture, because it felt like I was like trapped in like a middle school boy's mind for, you know, an hour or two, however long I played. And that is terrible and I don't want to be there. So the other bonk is the style of the like randomly generated dungeons, because I think something that I like about having things that I can repeat is that I'll get better at those specific rooms as I go. And those, you know, like it's like you play Link's Awakening, a boss kills you, like you're going to go back into that same dungeon after, you know, you come back. And you get to try that same boss and try different tactics. So then eventually you beat it. Whereas this is like a boss kills you. The next thing you see is going to be completely different boss, a completely different set of like power-ups that you get. Like everything's different. And so it's, again, difficult for a gamer like me who's a little new to this genre to get my footing. Like it felt like, what's even the point? Like I felt completely pointless. And that's why I was so surprised when you said that there's actually some kind of continuity in story, because to me, it's like, how can you build a story when everything's randomly generated?
The story is more generalized beats, really.
I guess I thought when you described it to me, and maybe I just had different expectations because of that, but it sounded to me like the story was a huge part of it, that like you are uncovering this creepy story. And that was what I was excited for. And then I found out there's nothing to do with the game.
Oh, not particularly. No, the story is pretty bare bones.
Yeah. So that was a bonk as well. So yeah, I mean, I think that basically covers it. I didn't play super long, so I don't have a ton of experience. I think, again, it's just not my game. I wrote in my bonks that I don't think I've ever played a game I liked less.
Oh geez.
Yeah, like truly hated this one. And I usually don't say that. And again, a lot of like, I can see where people like this. Like if that's your style of humor, if you're really comfortable with this format of game and you just want something fun to play that's like quick and silly and gross, then great. But like I like games like Chicory.
You like cozy games.
I like cozy games, and I also like games with story, because there is, I think I saw a TikTok talking about it, that there's this funny overlap between people who like horror games and people who like cozy games.
Oh,
Like I do like creepy games. I'm okay with it being creepy and like a little spooky, but I like this. I think it's that story element is kind of the Venn diagram. Like even Turnip Boy. Turnip
has a
Boy,
story,
well,
and it's
has a
in the title.
Turnip Boy has an incredibly, so it's not just about tax evasion. Like Turnip Boy gets deep. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but Turnip Boy, like their story is really important and kind of creepy and kind of cool. And also they have dumb jokes, but they do it in such a cool way that connects together and that makes you laugh and smile. And that's the kind of game I want. They had gross things in Turnip Boy, but I liked it.
Yep. I just, every time you mention like Turnip Boy, for some reason my brain immediately jumps to the streamer looking for subs joke that they have.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good stuff. That hits every neuron in my comedy center of my brain.
Yeah, I gotta have a top, what was it, level 3 tier sub or something like that.
Yeah, a tier 3 sub.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good game. So my summary of this is go play Turnip Boy commits tax evasion.
So from what I understand, they have, this is a little bit of a diversion, but when we talked about it and I was looking at it, it seems like they did add a new mode or area in Turnip Boy, which is, and so this is where it ties together. Very Binding of Isaac like, where it seems like they have added like a randomly generated dungeon for you to fight through. So maybe you could wet your feet in the genre in a game that you like and are more familiar with directly.
And already have connection to the main character with.
Exactly. And then maybe you can be like, okay, I now have more of a grip on this style.
That sounded like fun. Anyway, so that was great. Isaac, how did you like Claire?
Well, yeah, so all right. My game is Claire by Hailstorm Games. Hailstorm Games, HAILSTORM Games. It was on sale for 99 cents, which is a screaming good deal if it's still there by the time you listen to this. I don't know when that sale ends, but like, hey,
on Steam.
On Steam. And it might be available on other platforms. I actually didn't look at it too much. It is a horror game. I'm trying to think of how I would define the mechanics. So it's effectively a platformer. So it's got the same bones of like Super Mario. Excuse me, burped a little. But it's so you've got a side view, but it's often only if there is ever a part where you have to like jump between levels. I have not hit it yet. But you just walk back and forth. You do have the ability to jump, but only over small obstacles. Like sometimes there's a trash can or something that you have to jump over. For the most part, it doesn't seem like you use the jumping a lot, and there's not really much upwards movement. It's mostly just side to side. 2D, if that wasn't clear. Pixel art. You are a teen, like high school, maybe college aged girl who's sleeping, who I guess is tending or like alongside her mother at the hospital. The mother seems to be sick in some sort, and then she gets trapped in a nightmare reality, like a twisted version of the hospital she was in, which is filled with blood and gore and monsters and just general body horror stuff. So for some reason, her dog shows up also, and the dog kind of helps you. It barks when enemies are nearby, and as far as I can tell, that is the extent of what the dog does. So my honks. The game doesn't even let you try to fight any enemies. As far as I've played, there is no capacity to fight them. It's purely just run away. And I like that because even when I know that the game is not intended for me to fight enemies, I often get in the mindset of, well, I am just going to fight this enemy. And sometimes they make the enemies either super difficult, but still defeatable, which, I can get caught in that trap for hours. Sometimes they make the enemy literally undefeatable, but they do still allow you to fight it. which is confusing, and you can get in that trap for a really long time until you realize, oh wait, this literally never ends. This bypasses all that, does not even let you fight the enemies. It sets the tone straight away. Don't fight them, just run away. It does not give you any other option. So I think that's a honk, definite honk. It knows what it's going for, and it is designed in such a way to drive the player to do that naturally. And yes, sometimes you have to take away options to do that. Sometimes you don't need the options to fight enemies that there is no intention for you to beat. My other honk is game map. Very easy to access, and it's super informative. I would get completely lost in this game in a second if I was not able to open the map every time I entered a room. I was finding myself opening up the map and walking like 5 feet down the hallway and opening up the map again just to verify. I will note that it seemed like some of the placements were slightly off. Like the map indicates where doors are, and some like it'll show blocked doors that you can't access. But some of those seemed misaligned. Like they weren't actually on doorways. They were just seemingly in the middle of the hallway or middle of rooms. And I was like, wait, but I know that the door that is closest to is blocked. So I guess it's just drawn in the wrong place. So there's a couple glitchy things like that I'm not going to necessarily label as a bonk. I wouldn't say that they're like a design thing. They're just kind of the implementation is a little off, but the design, works non-notable. Then so into the bonks. There is a menu, and I think that there's just a straight up pause button that is not the menu. I think it tells you the like you can just straight up exit the game, but maybe it's part of the menu. I couldn't tell if it actually paused in any capacity. So
Same.
I didn't know if I was free to like step away from the computer, like alt tab and do something else for a little bit, because I noticed that the animations, like sometimes there's like candles on screen or flickering lights or something. That animation still runs when you're like in the menu, like possibly reading notes or you're just stepping away to go to the bathroom. And also, if you move your mouse around, that's how you control the flashlight in the game. So where your mouse is where your character points the flashlight. The flashlight moved around while I was navigating the menus with my mouse. And this goes into the second part. Light uses resources, and there's no way to turn off the light. So you have a lighter at first, and you can take the lighter out or put the lighter away, and presumably the lighter uses fuel. So I was wary to use that. In fact, I mostly kept it away because I didn't really need it to navigate. And then once you get the flashlight, you either have to have the flashlight or the lighter out. You cannot have nothing. So you're constantly eating presumably fuel or your flashlight batteries. And it explicitly tells you that the flashlight has batteries. If the pause menu doesn't actually pause, then it's eating away your flashlight the entire time that you're gone. Like if I just ran to the bathroom, the flashlight could be draining, but it's hard for me to tell because I can't directly interact with the game, and I never tried to pause when like an enemy or something else that moved was on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be another rough thing because the enemies actually are relentless. They will chase you as long as they know where you are. So like if you meet them on one screen, you run through a door, they'll bash the door down, follow you into the next room, and you either have to use a vent to get to a completely different location in the hospital or hide in a cupboard. So like if an enemy was chasing me and I paused it to run to the bathroom, because you can't just like close the game because there are certain points where you have to save.
Save points. I don't like save.
Yeah. Yeah, save. I mean, they have their
All
uses.
games should continuously save, is my opinion. I know you have some specific reasons. We won't get into it.
Yeah. So yeah, it just seems like inability to pause in a non-multiplayer game, if that is what was happening, and I guess I probably should test this before I say it as a bonk, but it seems like I was unable to pause, and that's part of game design too, is conveying information either directly with informational text or dialogue or whatever, or making it clear, like a lot of games, the screen grays out and nothing moves on the screen. So yes, 100%, nothing is happening in the game world because I have the game pause. And the fact that it doesn't have that just makes me really anxious about what is actually happening. So I would say that's a huge bonk. That, especially paired with the fact that you cannot not have a light out once you get both light sources, and possibly can't pause it, so you're constantly eating resources no matter what you do. Yeah. Final bonk, you can't pet the dog. There is a dog.
What?
I tried as hard as I could to pet that dang dog, and at no point could I make my character pet that dog with any command input that I was trying. Possibly the biggest bonk here, folks, and it's just an absolute shame that a game would include a dog and not have a pet button. So that,
I have to agree with that. That's
travesty.
I don't understand.
Yeah, that's Claire by Hailstorm Games. I am now going to compare it to another game. If you liked Lone Survivor, which the dev of that is, I'm drawing a blank. Hold on, I'm actually going to look it up because I love proper accreditation. If you like Lone Survivor or have played Lone Survivor at all, or like games, if you're familiar with it, I would recommend Claire. It has a lot of similarities in its blood to Jasper Burns' Lone Survivor, published by Superflat Games, available on Steam, I believe itch.io, and a couple other things. Very much a very similar game. So if you liked one, you probably like the other. And if you're looking for new content in that genre, there you are.
Now I'm wondering if I would like that one, and if you, because I know you like this one.
We got to trade off. You got to try Claire.
We'll see if I try it.
Anyways, do you have a game pitch for me?
But yeah, okay, so yeah, a game. I do have a game. This is less of, I would say this is almost a vibe check, but not quite. There's like more to it than that. But what I mean by that is I want you to help me figure out some of the mechanics here.
Okay. So she used a phrase, or yes. I think we're going to incorporate this into the show more often. We're going to call it vibe checks, where one of us, when we do our pitch, we only have a vibe, or we don't feel like we have like a more of a game,
we don't have
than
a
just
full
a vibe
game, right? We're just like, here's kind of the either feeling or topic, but I just couldn't get all the way,
Yeah, so then we do a vibe checks where we say the vibe, we say what mechanics we might have thought of, and then we work through together to come up with a pitch.
Yeah, so this might not be totally just a vibe check, but I think you'll have a lot to add to this one.
Okay, excited.
Yeah, you should be. So the working title, you're gonna know immediately, is it's called Horse Combat.
Oh no.
That's the game. So here's
this can't be done. This can't be done.
I think confirmed it.
Between Witcher 3 and Elden Ring, I have ample evidence that horse combat cannot be done. But all right, let's hear what you've got.
Look, I might be doing a series because like you did all ice level, I did all water level. Now we're doing all horse combat. Like it's just how it is. So okay, so it's a MMORG, an MMORPG.
Oh.
So you create battalions of players, and you all combat is horse combat. So the only way to do anything in this game is to be on a horse. So again, all combat must take place on horses. I wrote that twice for some reason, but it's very
good. It's very important. It's doubly important.
I mean, it is important. That's the whole game. The other thing that's like a design objective kind of thing is like the horses need real world maintenance. So like part of the game is taking care of your horse. So you have to feed it, make sure it has water, make sure it has enough rest, make sure you're like changing the shoes.
Now, do you have to do that from horseback, or
no,
is that
so
the one time you're allowed to get off the horse?
So you're allowed to get off the horse.
Okay.
You just can't travel or fight without, but like I imagine this because it's a MMORPG, so there's lots of like places to discover. Like you can be in a town, like picture like the Old West, and you like bring your horse to the watering hole and you can walk around town and buy supplies, but you can't like walk from like one town to another. You have to ride the horse.
Okay.
And if there's a battle, you would in the town, you would hilariously have to like go get your horse, get on the horse,
Okay. And ride
and
the horse around
ride the
town.
horse to the battle.
Now, this is an important question. Are you envisioning this as a Wild West type game
No, so
or a
no,
knight kind of medieval?
kind of. So here's this is the one you heard me laugh out loud when I came up with it.
Okay.
I imagine, because I also want to lean into kind of like the horse girl aesthetic a bit, because you do have to take care of the horses. You can name your horse, we're going to love these horses. So I want it to look kind of like She-Ra, like the Enchanted Forest. Like there's like magic, like cool colors, but also feel like A Knight's Tale, the movie.
Oh my God, where they start singing Queen songs in the stands.
Yeah, so it's like that is the vibes I want. And so not only, so it is more night style than Old West, but I think the towns will look kind of Old Westy, but I do want you to have like joust style matches as well as battles. So you can like enter competitions for jousting and like ring toss or whatever, like horse jumping, maybe, I don't know. You can like win things. So that's like friendly competition. Now, where I really feel like I need help with this game is I do want there to be literal battle opportunities, like not just competitions. You're not just taking care of a horse. Like you have your battalion that you've created and you're going from town to town and you have to battle in between those times. And like, why? That was what I couldn't come up with, is like, what is the why behind why we're battling? Like, are we trying to get like property?
Well, obviously territory. So A, property. B, each town probably has its own resources and shops. So your battalion wants to claim a town for their own. If you claim the Iron Town, you can make alliances with other battalions to enforce like the iron trade for you.
Okay, I like this.
And enemies obviously would, if they can't strike a deal with you, they want the iron for themselves. If they think their battalion is better or stronger, they're going to try to spring an attack.
So I like that this brings in the like diplomacy element of, we're going to make deals and treaties with people, and we have to like just trust their word on a lot of things.
Yeah, like, okay, our battalion is going to give members of your battalion rights to buy the town, but we're going to revoke it from this other battalion. Yeah. So part of the problem with an idea like this, and I'm just going to say this from the perspective of like other MMOs, is you either need a lot of land to fight over, or else you're going to run into a situation. So either you need a lot of land to fight over, or you need a lot of smaller population servers to split it up. Otherwise, you're going to run into a situation where,
I mean, I don't think horse combat's going to get quite as big as like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, I would just say that it would naturally consolidate people into whatever the biggest battalion is, instead of striking out on their own. So like you would end up with like, the battalion X versus battalion Y. And if you're not either of those battalions, you either don't have the two-party system.
No.
I didn't want to get political, but yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, we'll figure out how to. So what I want, that would be a question for another day. And by that, I mean, it's never going to get made, so it doesn't matter. But it is a good thing to think about, it, especially since I haven't played the only like MMORPG I really played was Toontown, which is I feel like I'm just name dropping games today. I'm like, I'm a gamer. So the other thing I wanted to say to that idea, because I really like this, maybe resource control is more important, but I want it to be silly a little, maybe not too silly, but like it's not iron, it's like fluff muffin petals.
Okay.
I don't know.
Muffins.
Yeah, or like sparkle bees.
Sparkle bees, to make your sweet treats with sparkle bee honey.
Maybe you can collect like vinyl records. I don't know. I want this to be completely anachronistic. I want it to just look fun and just be silly and goofy.
I think it would be really cool if, I'm going to go back to the She-Ra thing, where your horse girl battalion has to battle like robots in a medieval time in Old West towns. Yeah, robots could definitely be. Yeah, I'm trying like, to think, you get laser swords for your unicorn. So maybe it could be Toontown. Okay, so wait, let's
let's just rip off Toontown a little bit. This actually would work
Okay.
really well. So the way that Toontown worked is because you had to battle some things in groups. Like there was no way to not do that. But
Yeah.
you didn't have specified groups the way you're like the way I initially designed this. It was more like, let's take down a cog building. And like Toons would just kind of run around and be like, hey, do you want to come take this building down with me? And you get like 5 to 10 in a group.
Okay. An
You
ad
take
hoc
the building
group.
down. But
Yeah.
there's also like a lot of challenges you can do by yourself, or with like a couple people. And you can like obviously like time it with your friends and be like, oh, log on now and we'll like do this thing. But that might be a more sustainable way to do this. And then we could have the robots be the villain. So you're not battling each other necessarily. It's like more cooperative.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So the robots would be NPCs,
But they're on horses.
Oh.
Everyone has to
okay.
be on horse, or else there's no.
Okay.
Are they robot
okay.
horses? Maybe, but like it's all horse. It has to
They
be
would
horse
have
combat.
to be robot horses.
No one cannot be on a horse to battle.
Okay.
That's the rule of. That's like the one rule.
if you are off a horse when you battle, you die.
You just can't battle. You just can't.
Okay.
You die.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We love it. I love it. I love this pitch.
So I think that's pretty much it. I think we could still narrow down a little bit of the mechanical of the gameplay itself, but generally must battle on horse, silly goofy mood. Horses can get cool hairstyles, and that's it.
You just threw that one on as an afterthought.
That's a little cherry on top. That was the cherry on top right there.
That's an important one.
Yeah, but you can go to salons and you can like braid their tails and like get cool hairstyles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
and I was honestly debating whether or not horses can die, because I do like the real world of like, well, they have to eat food but yeah, I think you're right. I think in this world
they get sick and taken away.
Yeah, or maybe they just have to be like rested. Like they have to go rest now. Like this horse must rest. And you get a new horse, but maybe you can visit your old horses. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So that's horse combat. Isaac, do you have a game to pitch me?
Yes. I also have a game where the title gives it away. My game is called Backstab 'em Up. It's called it is the Backstab 'em Up game.
Wow. All right.
You can only damage enemies from behind, but enemies can damage you from any angle. So you have to really
Yeah. I was just saying, this is again in the genre of like pick one mechanic and that's the rule.
Well,
we both did it.
Yes, I honestly think that's a very good idea, a way to design, like at the very least, like a simple game. But like you could expand these things out to like big, large scope games. They don't have to just be like a 30-minute experience. But yeah, I think really focusing in on one mechanic is a way of doing it. And that's what I did here. So this is a 3D frame important action game. And I'm sure that there's a real word for this, but the one that I always use is frame important. Choices matter.
For those of us, go ahead. Explain that.
I'm going into the explanation. So each input that you make matters. Doing an attack, dodging, even moving commits you to that action for at least a certain number of frames. So computers run or games run at a certain number of frames per second. And in a lot of games, especially fighting games and like Dark Souls and stuff, the number of frames is very important for how the game plays. So like an attack that takes 24 frames, like the first 5 frames are like the startup, and then the actual damaging hitbox appears like 6 frames in and then carries out till the 18th frame. And then there is an extra like 6 frames of animation, but at that point you can like dodge and it'll cancel early. So I'm not sure if this is making any sense in this very limited, weird way of describing it, but the idea is if you do an attack, you're not going to just be able to dodge out of it. You have committed to that attack, and if you have committed at the wrong moment, the enemy might hit you and do a lot of damage. Mm-hmm. So that I think that is completely integral to this game design, because if it is not frame important, I think just walking around behind your enemy and then doing an attack, and hey, if you messed up, you can just quickly move, like stop attacking and then move on. and not get punished at all, I think that would be too easy of a game. So ideas for how we expand on this concept to kind of make it more interesting than the first 30 seconds is, you'll fight mostly single enemies. I'm envisioning this where the goal is you learn their attack patterns to find openings to get behind them and get backstabs.
Mm-hmm.
So like a very basic enemy might reliably attack like whenever it gets you in range of its attack. So it's very simple for you to just kind of let it get close. When you see it starting to attack, you just roll to the side, and then it's still in the middle of the attack animation. You get behind it, stab it, it's dead. A little tweak of it, groups of enemies, there might be one of those enemies is always going to be super easy to defeat. But then if you've got like 3 of them, what do? You've got to herd them up and figure out how to like kind of get one to split off, whether that's baiting like 2 of them to attack you at once. And while they're doing that attack animation, you run off, and the third one hasn't started his animation yet, so can follow you. And then like you hopefully have enough distance to force him or trick him into attacking. Then you roll behind him, backstab him. Mm-hmm. And then different enemies are going to have different move sets and different attack speeds. Some might attack slow, some might attack fast, some might be able to like turn during an attack. So like they pick up their sword. Most enemies, once they pick up the sword, they're going to slam down exactly in front of them, but you roll off to the side and this enemy turns, slams its sword down to where you just rolled to, and you're like, oh crap, this one's smarter than the rest. Some might do ranged attacks that you have to figure out how to dodge. Some might have like ranged attacks that follow you for a little while, like that very annoying electrode fight in Pokemon Legends of Arceus.
Yeah.
Or they might have like spin attacks, or especially spin attacks, like, so that's 360 degrees. Like if you're behind them, it'll still hit you. And they might have combos where they can like do a quick attack, and if you're not being smart about it, like you immediately roll and try to get a backstab on them, but then they're like, I have a combo where I do the quick attack and then can instantly do a spin attack, so I punish you. So the idea is that you kind of have to like watch and fight very defensively at first until you figure out the patterns,
okay,
to get in for the backstab. Now the last tweak for kind of expanding this content is that you have different items and weapons that you can attack with. So weapons will be differentiated by like their range, their damage, attack speed, and possibly special moves. So like if you have a dagger, it might be particularly good at backstabbing. Like it might do the most damage because you can just slit someone's throat. But it has the smallest range because it's got such a short blade, especially if you're going for like a throat slit action. You have to have a very precise positioning in order to actually get a backstab attack. Whereas if you have a spear, you can just kind of roll past someone, quickly turn around, and even if you're like 3 yards away, like here, poke them in the back with a spear, they're dead. It might not do as much damage, but the range makes things a little more open for mistakes. And then some of them might have different special moves, like you might have an enchanted dagger that lets you teleport, or lets you block attacks with a magical shield, or let's unlock it. Let's unlock the basic concept a little more even. You might have a weapon that allows you to shoot like a little laser, or like blind enemies or something, like give you an attack that doesn't necessarily deal damage or deal enough damage to defeat enemies reliably, but just give you another avenue of doing things. So yeah, that's
okay.
That is backstab 'em up.
So I mean, that sounds very interesting, but I definitely feel like that was mostly all about mechanics and not anything about a why.
Oh.
Like who is this? Who are we fighting? Who are we playing? What does the world look like?
Wow. I did not come up with any of a why.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, clearly the mechanics are very clearly thought out and like very interesting. And I think it's such a fun twist of like, you got to stab them in the back. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
the weapons you thought through. So yeah, it's like just a question of where and why and yeah, and who.
I mean,
You have how, you got how.
my initial thoughts are either Victorian England, where you are a dashing gentleman rogue who to make it a nice game, you are battling ungentlemanly rogues.
I mean, I was gonna say that if you're gentlemanly, then you would not stab someone in the back.
Yeah. But these are like tough, thuggish.
Yeah, but they,
bad guys.
I feel like based on TV,
you're right. You're right.
They would say, "I would never stab someone in the back." No matter
you're right. They would have
what
honor.
Scum they were. Like that's what they'd say.
So okay, how about just a dashing rogue?
Yes, that's fine.
Dashing, friendly rogue who only battles other rogues, because like you could have him, just killing guards that are guarding the crown jewels, but like those guys are just trying to have a living, like make a living, like they're doing security work. Like, come on, they don't deserve this. They've been beat up enough.
I like. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't want this to be a villainous game, but you're right. The backstabbing concept is kind of like dishonorable, so
already
it does
villainous.
seem a little bit villainous. Yeah, no matter how you slice it.
I think I accidentally put your game and my game in my head together, and I was like, a Victorian rogue on horseback is. But yes, okay, I like that. I like Victorian rogue. You tend to seem to like the Victorian setting for games.
Have I used that one a lot?
Yeah, your Ghost of a Chance was Victorian. I think
the one where you about talking and distracting people.
Yep, that's what I was thinking was also.
Yeah, Victorian. I think that one was a Victorian too. Well, hey, I've got a setting. I guess.
Got a niche, and that's not a bad thing. So that's great. Stab him in the back. Stab him up. You got to backstab
him up.
Are you ready for our rapid fire?
I am ready. Good. For the next 15 minutes of glory.
Or less, if we're good.
Or less, if we're good, yeah.
All right. Is the timer all set?
Yeah.
I'm generating.
All right.
Material.
Public.
Insist. Here we go.
Okay, this is... My first thought is Chernobyl.
How does that
like the HBO show specifically, which I've only watched like 2 episodes of, but like to be the authorities who are insisting on like letting the public know that this dangerous material has had a problem, and like a large portion of people are in danger, but there is red tape / bureaucracy /
so
corruption
Shin Godzilla
stopping you. Shin Godzilla, yes.
I do.
There is a dangerous material you have to tell the public about, but you are for some reason not allowed, or people don't believe you.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this idea, but before we move on, I just want to say how funny our brains went in such different directions. I think because I've been watching Bridgerton, but like I was like, okay, so it's about someone who makes clothes, and and it's all about politeness, and it's like, but I must insist upon your fashion choices. I don't know. That was where I was going. Totally different interpretation of almost every word. But yes, I like this idea of the Shin Godzilla-esque bureaucracy, red tape to try to like alert the public of a safety issue. And I think having it be a nuclear issue is fun because people just like that as a genre. I think just like it's just a constant threat we live with. So
yeah, and I think that the gameplay of it would be, so I'm imagining like a top-down view. You are in, say, an office, and you might have different areas that you go to, including like having to take a bus to a different building, but you have to navigate to different booths with different paperworks and like fill out paperwork. So it's basically a paperwork simulator.
Oh boy.
And like, so you bring it, you bring form 14, fill it out, bring it to window 8. And then they give you form 17B, tell you to fill that out, bring it to the other office,
And you can have, yeah, like there'll be like your inventory will just be all these different forms. And you have to like remember what people tell you. And then like maybe you can build relationships with people so you get things done faster or
Oh,
slower. And like,
like pull favors.
yeah, I also think that collectibles should be like stamps and pins.
Yes. So
But yeah, I think
um
we did it. I think that's okay. We just gotta name it.
we just gotta name it. And um hmm. What what do we got for names here?
Yeah. Paper cut.
uh if we add a new mechanic where cutting in line is important,
What?
I think
Okay.
I know the game names don't have to be 100% descriptive, but between backstab 'em up and horse combat, I'm just in that kind of mood today.
Well, because yeah, I mean, I guess it's like I was thinking like something with having to do with the word red tape, but since it's all about paperwork, I mean, it could be like bureaucracy.
So I like paper cut even without like a cutting
Okay.
mechanic.
I mean, you could cut
Because it could be, if we do the atmosphere right, or if the atmosphere is done correctly, it could be kind of a horror game, especially depending on how
yeah.
big the nuclear threat is. Like,
Oh yeah, like maybe people are like starting to mutate near the end of the game, like literally in your office, and you're like, oh my god.
yeah, like if we set it up as a horror game
And
and we
people are
call
just
it
like, this
paper
is
cut,
fine.
and like I'm imagining the cover art. We have less than a minute left, but I am imagining the cover art of being a finger with a small paper cut on it now, holding like a complicated looking like DMV form.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we did it. Paper cut.
All right, 37 seconds left.
Wow. I think you just went off on that. It wasn't, we weren't having trouble. All right. Next words. Here they come. Oh, it didn't. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. Way.
Way. Wait,
Rehabil.
way as in WHEY or
No,
WEIGH?
like this is how much this weighs.
Okay, all right. Way.
Rehabilitation
Okay.
and myth. Oh, I got it. I got it.
Okay.
You're a vet, but
Yes.
you rehabilitate mythical creatures. So like
Yes.
unicorns, phoenixes, all the good stuff.
The weight is a lot of them come in malnourished, so before you can release them back to the wild, you have to get them to a healthy weight.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's just part of caring for animals is usually checking their weight and making sure that's fine. So that word is the smallest amount of the game, but it fits in.
Yeah. Oh no, it all comes together. So what's the name? I guess okay. Before we come up with the name, maybe we should come up with a little bit more gameplay, because I guess that's the theme. But like
that, I think would be more cozy.
Oh,
like what if it was more like, I've never played like Stardew Valley, but what if the animals were more like a collection? I guess like it's more like an Animal Crossing type, like looks like Animal Crossing, and you like you get them and they like rehabilitate like slowly and you get to know them and
like they're in a village and you just kind of hang out and talk with them and like
and give them what they
my leg hurts, and you bring them medicine.
Yeah, well, I don't think you talk to them. I don't want that.
Oh, okay.
But it would be kind of like, they have their own like little area, like a pen or like an environment that you set up for them while you rehabilitate them. And like you can have up to like 5 creatures, and once one gets to full health, you have like a little like party to let it go.
Okay.
So I think that'd be kind of cuter and more relaxing. This feels like,
Okay. We don't want like a tense arcade game that you're meant to play like a minute at a time.
If that's okay to switch that.
Now my other idea, so let's debate about this. We've got a minute and 30 seconds left.
Oh boy.
Operation, the board game, but as a video game.
I like it. I mean, I like that, but I think it's a little too like gruesome.
Well, it wouldn't be gruesome because it would be like, oh, well, I guess butterflies in the stomach is a little operation thing. But like with unicorns, you can do fun things like, oh no, the I have to take the glitter. Now, okay, all right, the gameplay is you have the pens of animals, you learn what they like, dislike.
You can like shop for like what they need, unicorn food, got to get more from the store. I don't know. I think it'd be cute.
Do shopping. Okay. And it's kind of a cozier game than rather like
I think
really
I just need a cozy
hardcore
game right
gameplay
now. I just need a
mechanics.
cozy game. All
Okay.
right. It's called Doctor Rainbow's Pet
Sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
Well, not pets, because these are wild animals you're rehabilitating.
Dr. Rainbow's
Mythical Animal Sanctuary.
Mythical Animal.
Mythical Wildlife Sanctuary.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, Dr. Rainbow's Mythical Wildlife Sanctuary, and 20 seconds left on the clock, folks.
Oh, we're really milking the time we got this time.
Yeah, hey, the people are here to listen to a podcast. If we take too fast, what are they here? What are they going to listen to? Another podcast?
Okay, the final 3 words of this episode, number 10.
Okay.
Faint.
Feint. F-E-I-N-T or F-A-I-N-T?
What is F-E? What is that?
That's like a feint in combat. Like you pretend.
Okay, it
like
is not that.
Okay, it's faint. Like I fainted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Break. Greeting.
Faint, break, greeting.
Greeting makes me think of greeting cards, but that connects to nothing else.
Yeah, this is a hard combination of words. Well, we could also go with the other name of faint, the other meaning of faint as that spelling. So like faint writing, or faint, like a faint light.
Yeah, faint sound, something.
Faint sound. Oh shoot, I don't remember the other words anymore. Faint, break,
and greeting.
Faint, break, and greeting. Whoa, this is tough. I got nothing.
It's spelled break like a car brake too. So maybe it's like break your bicycle.
Well, let's see. Break.
Your bicycle bell that you use to greet all your friends is too faint.
And you have to get a louder bike bell.
Get a louder bike bell. But your bike's brakes are also broken. And so you have to navigate down the hills of your town to find the bike bell. The end.
Okay. All right. So is this a 3D game, a 2D game?
A 3D game.
And so you don't have brakes. So how are you interacting with this?
Oh, so you don't have brakes. You have to get to the bike shop, which is at the bottom of the mountain you live on. So it's all about downward momentum, and you have to like dodge people and things because your bell is so faint that they can't hear you. They can only hear you up to like a certain point. And like as the game progresses, the bell gets fainter and fainter.
Okay, we've had looser connections to words than this before. I'm gonna go with it.
Awesome.
And the name, I want to go with Road Rage or Road Rash, but that doesn't seem fitting.
Yeah, it's not rage. It's like you got to get to the bike shop.
Yeah.
Ring. Who's there? It's me.
It's called It's All Downhill From Here.
Oh, I like that. I'm in. That's it. Yep.
All right. Weirdly enough, we have 1 minute and 30 seconds left, which means we did this game the fastest out of all of them.
Amazing.
That is really good, actually.
Amazing. All right. Well, that's it for us. That's our episode 10. If you want to email us, whether it's a game idea, a game you want us to honk and bonk, a title of a game you want us to design around, or a couple words you think we could design around, you can email us at makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. You can give us a tweet at makethatgamepod, and you can follow us or DM us on Instagram at makethatgamepod.
And that's all. That's all, folks.
Yeah. So
thanks for listening.
Yeah. If you liked what you heard today, you can go ahead and
make that game.
Okay.
I thought if I went fast enough, you would pick up on it, and you would also go fast, and we would line up by the end.